Welcome back. I have another comparison video here to go along with the good, the bad, and the ugly, but this one's a little more specialized. I wanted to kind of compare the Lady Fist to the Hawkeye, since they're both kind of your high critical hit guns, and what Gearbox did with both of these. So, I guess let's just get into it. The Hawkeye, I've already been all over both of these guns, the good, the bad, and the ugly, but the Hawkeye here you see has only 42% of the damage that the Muck has. If you do it the other way, it had 135% reduction in damage, and has, yeah, only 42. That's a lot. That's tiny. I mean, you lost well over half the damage of the Muck, and that's really, really a killer. You do get more fire rate. Not a ton, but it's noticeable. A better reload speed, which definitely helps, and more in the mag, which also helps. But the problem with this gun, as you see here, here's the Muck. Now I do have my full skill build on. This is OP8. I want to do this all of my skills. So that's 9.7 million. The Hawkeye, 9.4 million. The Hawkeye's damage is so far reduced, it does less than a Muck. And on a body shot, in case you miss, 1.4 to 632. And you are going to miss some shots, let's be honest. It happens. So the Muck is pretty much just better than the Hawkeye. I mean, sure, you can fire a little faster with the Hawkeye, but this is a one-shot, one-kill sniper. I think the Hawkeye also has a little less recoil, as it feels like. But you're not really getting a whole lot more out of that fire rate, other than the nice recoil reduction, which is great for it. But it should do more than a Muck on a single shot, and I think this is where it has failed. A Muck has 160% critical hit bonus, where the Hawkeye has 580, so it got a 420% critical hit bonus. I mean, that's a big number, 580, but the problem is there's two pistols that have better. You have the Crit Fibber, which is 700, and you have the Lady Fist, that's 800. And to be fair, this was 400, and then it became 800 in the Loot Hunt. But the Lady Fist here, as you can see, has 63%, or 61% of the damage that the regular blue Hyperion doll-barreled pistol has. That's much better than 40%, and a regular pistol doesn't have a crit bonus. It's got the regular crit formula of ×2, but it doesn't have a bonus like the 160% the Jacob sniper has, or regular snipers have 100. So this has that full 800% above its counterpart. So you see there, 4.4 million. 1.2 million. So I mean, these still do a lot more than the Hawkeye in a single, or the Lady Fist on a single shot. But you also don't have that fire rate, that magazine size, any of that stuff. So it should do more. But the big thing is here, why did the Hawkeye get that much of a damage reduction? If the Hawkeye had 800% critical hit above a Muck, and 60% of a Muck's damage instead of 40%, the Hawkeye would be amazing. It would be an awesome, awesome sniper for everyone. But unfortunately, in most cases, you're better off with a Muck over a Hawkeye. And the Hawkeye is hidden behind Veracitus, the hardest raid boss in the game. And the other gun you get from Veracitus is the Interfacer, which is pretty much accepted as the best shotgun in the game. The Hawkeye isn't anywhere near a top sniper. And it's on some top gears. On certain characters it is better than a Muck, but not by much. And that's kind of sad. So that's kind of the point of what I've been doing these videos, is look how the guns were made and how guns were right and how guns were wrong. And sure, the Lady Fist got that buff after the loot hunt, but I also have an issue with the highest crit gun in the game being a Hyperion pistol and not a Jacobs sniper. Jacobs are all about the critical hit. They have the biggest natural critical hit bonus with snipers at 160 over 100. All other Jacobs guns have a Type B crit bonus, which other guns do not come with. So it's kind of annoying that the Hawkeye didn't get a buff to go along with the Lady Fist. It should have been part of the loot hunt. If they buffed the Lady Fist to 800, they should have buffed the Hawkeye to 900. And if the Hawkeye's at 900, it's better than a Muck-a-Muck at that point. So that's my major gripe, and kind of the point of these series, to look at not how good a gun is, but why a gun isn't better than it should, or why a gun is really good. And there's, the Liuta and the Pimpernel were good examples of that, because they had a bunch of added abilities without anything drawn back. And the Hawkeye's really close to being good, because the increased fire rate, the recoil reduction, the bigger magazine size, but that base damage, unfortunately, makes it do less than a Muck-a-Muck on a regular shot. And, not to beat a dead horse, but the Hawkeye's hidden behind Veracitus. And he is the hardest raid boss in the game, most people would say. So the Hawkeye should be worth farming Veracitus for and worth going to get. And it just isn't, when a Muck-a-Muck is really just as good as it. Hawkeye might win out on DPS slightly on paper because of the magazine size and recoil and some of that stuff, but it's such a minuscule way that it might be better than the Muck-a-Muck, and it's so hard to get that you're really better off just using a Muck-a-Muck. And on top of that, you can go get yourself a Citrine Muck-a-Muck, and then it's going to be even more better than the Hawkeye, because you're going to get even more critical hit damage out of it, and that's going to reduce the difference between them. In Zero, when you stack CA, all of a sudden you really see the Hawkeye fall behind the Muck-a-Muck. So yeah, that is these guns, and just kind of something I wanted to cover and kind of remind people why I'm doing this and what the point of it is. I thought these were good examples that are worth covering. And hopefully, Gearbox takes some of these things into consideration when they're doing Borderlands 3, and does a little bit more with the meta as well. And that's why I was talking about the Jacobs Sniper should be the highest crit gun in the game. Because meta-wise, it's a Jacobs Sniper. It should have the highest crit in the game above anything else. Even if it's by 20 or 50%, they shouldn't let anything have a higher crit bonus than a Jacobs Sniper. Because some people don't give a crap about the meta, but some people really do. And I think that's a valid complaint. So thank you guys for watching once again. Let me know what you think, and I will see you later. Bye.